Midnighters is an indie thriller that has some fun moments, but as a whole is just kind of mediocre.
He's gone. Go back to the house. We need some place where we can figure things out.
There's nothing that we could have done.
Wait, that's our address. He was on his way here.
So the basic idea of the film is that it's New Year's Eve, and their husband and wife, they're at an office party, and they're coming home. They're both a little drunk. Maybe they shouldn't be driving, and they the guy who's driving starts to decide to maybe play with the wife's vagina a little bit, and while he's distracted, he hits a guy that's walking in the road in the middle of the night. And at first they get out, they try to help him, and they decide there's no self-service, so they get him in the car. They're gonna take him to the hospital, but then the guy thinks that he's dead. So like, oh, what do we do now? So like they decided to go back to their house and maybe sober up a bit, and then take him to the hospital. But then of course it turns out that he's not dead. And you see when the wife's sister comes in, and the guy starts to pull his gun to try to kill her, shoot her, and the wife's sister kills him instead. And it even gets creepier when they look into his wallet, and it has their address on it. There's a note with their address on it. So then it's like, oh, what's going on? And it turns out that the wife's sister was in a relationship from some guy that maybe it's bad news, and now I guess he wants him dead, and there's maybe a bunch of money involved, and that's the movie. I think my biggest problem with the Midnighters is that I didn't really believe any of the characters. Like, they kept acting differently. Like, they would act one way and then act a completely different way the next scene. And like the director, I really think, kind of did more of a tell and not show about these characters. Like, they would have they just come in, the old boyfriend comes in and starts torturing people and stuff, and you get this thing like where he's like snooping around and all their stuff, and he's like listing stuff about them, like, oh, he knows everything about these people, and then it's like he's just telling them, like, it's not really showing them like who these characters are. Like, oh, you were a jock, you were a college baseball star that couldn't make it in the big leagues, and now you're just mooching off your wife. Oh, and your wife is doing a banking that doesn't really stand up to her boss at all, and they kept doing stuff like that, and it's like, oh wow, that's not really good filmmaking. And then the tone is different too. With the tone, it seems one way, and then you get like a torture scene where and what makes sense of a torture scene if it was the boyfriend, but instead it's now the husband and wife torturing that boyfriend by hammering nails into his fingers. And it's like, whoa, okay. So are you guys crazy too? Like, there's a jump where now they're like the vicious one. They don't really quite get it. And then especially because it seems like all this stuff is over like 50 grand, which is nothing. And it's just kind of goofy when then people start turning against each other, and there's no really logic in their actions. Like, what they do is completely illogical, and it's goofy. Like, there are multiple times where I knew that, okay, I bet they're going to do this, and that's what they did, but at the same time, I was like, I bet they're going to do this because it's so stupid. Like, I didn't think they should do that. It's that, like, I knew that's what they were going to do, have, like, people betraying each other and kind of killing each other, and then it just becomes stupid. Like, I really didn't like a lot of this movie. Like, it doesn't deliver on the thrills at a certain point. It just becomes like a mess of a movie. But it's not horrible. It's just not very good. And it's really incredibly forgettable. Like, it's just not that much that is memorable about it. I mean, the end is fine, but the end, it doesn't exactly make sense for some of the other stuff that happened in the movie. Although some other stuff kind of does, but overall, it's just mediocre. I think a 5 out of 10. It's just an average, film. It's just nothing really very good. I wouldn't recommend it, but I mean, if you want to see it, it's fine. But thanks for watching. Share it if you play it around my head, or subscribe to me over here. Thanks.